Hey guys, figured I'd make one more video about how the new version of zbox and the new firmware on the CarPlay dongle works and what kind of improvements you're likely to see. So let's take a look. First off, I do have my little test bench here. We're running Remix OS, and yeah, so it should emulate an Android hand unit fairly well, except for steering wheel controls, but we'll get into that in a second. So here we go. So this is the new zbox app, the updated one I should say. If we look into About, APK version 2.0.0xh, if you'll notice, it actually is running at a nice high resolution as well. So that's kind of good, and it seems to adapt to the resolution that you choose. So if I make this full screen, it will run at the full resolution of the screen, which is a little bit laggy, but that's good that it's been updated. So presumably if you have a head unit which has a really high resolution or it has a strange aspect ratio, it will adapt accordingly. If we go into settings, let's see here, we do have some here. So SWC, steering wheel controls, and microphone are grayed out for some reason. Driver position, you can select left or right hand drive. This basically just affects where the status bar will be in CarPlay. Night mode is, well, I assume it affects maps, but actually, as you'll notice, it kind of doesn't. You'll see in a second what I mean, but I imagine this is supposed to change daytime or nighttime mode. So I'll leave it on daytime mode for the time being. For what it's worth, it's nighttime outside, so we'll see how that affects things. Right, help provides some useful guidance on using the app. Basically says plug your iPhone in and make sure you have a Siri activated so that CarPlay works. Right, so here I have my USB port. I put a voltage and amperage meter on here just for interest's sake. Here's the updated dongle. That is, the physical dongle is the same. I just updated the firmware to firmware 2.0.1. Let's see how that goes. Right, so that's plugged in. So we're sitting at around 5 volts and 0.37 amps. We should find zbox in a second. Hopefully we will. Hopefully nothing gets in our way. Case in point, it's a little bit finicky. I hope it's not the voltage meter that's affecting anything. I plugged it back in one more time. Alright, so allow zbox app to access this device. And sure, of course, why not? I'll have you know that this pops up every single time, no matter how many times I check the default box or whatever. This allow USB access pops up every single time. So here we got zbox connected. I've got an iPhone 5S this time, and I'm running iOS 11 public beta 5, I think it is. So just for interest's sake, we'll see how that works. Okay, so let's plug in the USB. If I could get it right way the first time. Okay, connect it again. Let's see what happens. I gotta say, this is very difficult to do with one hand. Okay, here we go. So this firmware is a little bit finicky sometimes, I don't know why. Right, so phone connecting. And here we've got CarPlay. Let's see if I can make this a little bit easier to see. Okay, so here's the main CarPlay screen. It's running at a fairly high resolution. And can we test out here? The main problem that I had was music. So if we go to now playing, or here we go. Gosh, what can we play? Yeah, why not? Dance music.
Friday night, my phone is off, and none of my friends even know you're gone.
So that seems to work better. The audio quality is much improved. It's a whole lot better. The video quality as well, it's very hard to tell, but there were some compression artifacts before, and they seem to have figured that out, and it looks to be gone now, especially around greens where you can really easily see compression artifacts. And it's hard to tell using the camera, but they seem pretty well gone. Everything looks really crisp, really clear, and if I could focus in properly, that would be nice. There we go. Yeah, so in case you're wondering, iOS 11 also works with this. It doesn't really matter what version iOS you're running, as long as it connects, then you have the video feed from the phone. Maps always seems to be fine, I guess. We're running on an iPhone 5S, so it's a little bit laggy, but it still seems to load fine. 3D mode works okay too. You got the new signal bars from iOS. So yeah. I don't think I've configured Siri on this phone to recognize my voice to say, "Hey Siri," but for interest's sake. Hello Siri.
Hi.
Siri's a guy this time. Awesome. Anyway, so that's how it works. It seems to work a lot better, a lot more stable, quality's a lot better. But the only other problem I really have is the USB port's a little bit finicky. You'll see what I mean. It's kind of loose with the connection, depending on what you hook it into. If you hook it into a USB extension, it seems to be a little bit more stable. But let's see, if you kind of lift it up, it'll disconnect sometimes, as you kind of saw at the beginning of the video. For interest's sake, we're running 0.8 amps right now. So you need a pretty hefty USB port. So you got to make sure the USB port in your Android head unit can provide more than 500 milliamps. Otherwise, you'll probably not be charging nearly as fast, because obviously it needs to power the actual dongle itself and be charging your phone at an optimal speed. So yeah, like I said, if I wiggle it, it kind of loses connection. So yeah, I don't know why, but it seems a little bit unstable in that regard. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Take care.